Hey, this is Darrell Dwarf Millar, the rock and roll pirate from the Killer Dwarfs, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast. It's only rock and roll, man.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper endings. And our guest is
Darell Dwarf Millar of the Killer Dwarfs.
And what other project is he involved with?
He's got a side band called Automan.ca.
Yeah, and he was also promoting Thunderfoot, Chronicles of a Rock and Roll Pirate, Volume 1, the book he just released.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's get to this interview.
All right, good night.
Good night. Darrell, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you my host, Jeff Untied.
Hey, Darell, this is going to be fun to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, how are you, brother?
Good.
Well, first of all,
right.
We want to thank you for all the correspondence and getting this going. And I know this was kind of like last minute, but we're so happy to have you on the show tonight. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, because you got me at a good time. I'm not super fond of hearing myself and doing interviews, to tell you the truth, but I've done thousands in my life. But I'm doing a book tour right now, and book signings and all that. So you got me at a good time.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing. I could use the promotion.
Absolutely. So you've recently released your new book, Thunderfoot: The Chronicles of a Rock and Roll Pirate, Volume 1. Can you talk?
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about taking on the task of writing this book?
Absolutely. Writing books is as you just said, task. Oh man, it's like a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work and brain power writing a book. And I didn't think I would be writing my first book till I was a little older. I always planned on, writing an autobiography, only because I have a pretty cool story to tell. Due to the fact that I've been in the music business for 50 years. So I've seen decades of rock and roll. I grew up around the band Steppenwolf. That was a major 60s hit band. My cousin, Mars Bonfire, wrote Born to Be Wild, the song, and my other cousin, his brother, was the drummer in Steppenwolf, and they were my very first concert in 1972 at Massey Hall in Toronto, where I'm from. So, I have many stories to tell, and like I said, I wasn't really thinking I would write a book till I was a little older, but my dad passed away 4 years ago, and I started writing memoirs about him and whatnot, and that led to my first book called Guardian of a Timekeeper. That's really how all this happened. I have two books in. So Guardian of a Timekeeper turned into a tale of 10 chapters of near-death experiences I've had, nothing to do with rock and roll. And it's a wild ride. It's like Final Destination, the movie, that book. and the fans loved it. It was close to a bestseller before COVID hit and fucked up my whole sales pitch. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Do you allow the odd F-bomb on your show?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I apologize if not. But yeah, man, like, come on. I mean, things were going so well. We were touring, and then,
Yeah.
Now we have a pandemic, and you will never rock again. That's sort of how it went. Right? So, anyway, that's the story of how I got to the second book.
Yeah.
And that is my career, this book, and it's going to be in maybe 3, as many as 3 books come out of this.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. As you approached writing Thunderfoot, how did you decide on what stories to tell and what ones to leave off? I mean, how do you do that with all, your history in rock and roll and all the years you have behind you? What was the narrowing point of, okay, I have to tell this story, but I can't tell this story? How did it work?
That is a fantastic question, seriously, because that is the hardest thing about writing a rock and roll biography. That's the hardest thing by far, because you want to tell the truth, and you do tell the truth, which I do through the book, but you don't want to hang everybody at the same time. I mean, I don't want lawsuits coming at me telling things. I mean, and a lot of shit went down. And, that I had to kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb, and I won't say I candy-coated anything. I just left it out. If I thought it was going to be detrimental to somebody and it was going to make them look, in a really bad light, I don't want to do that.
Sure.
I don't want to do that to anybody. So I really found a happy medium with that. And I told the truth, man. I told the truth, but if it was going to get too gritty and too personal with someone else that might affect their marriage and things like that, that's something I don't want to do, right? So some of it I just left out. I would just move on into another topic, put it that way. That's how I got around it. You would never know. Reading the book, you'd never go, oh, it sounds like he left something out. It's not like that.
Well,
I just didn't talk about some of the stuff. It was too hideous. Right?
This book has been labeled as Volume 1, and you've said that maybe we're going to look at 2 more volumes after that. But, as far as your fans go, as they anticipate wanting more from you, do you have like a time frame as far as, or a timeline when you can expect to write the Volume 2 or Volume 3? How's it going to work for you? Do you have any idea? Do you have a game plan?
Yes, I do. The game plan is that they have to buy 50,000 copies before I start the second book.
Understandable.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, absolutely not. That's not the case at all. No, I've already started writing the second one. Here's how I did it. I kind of didn't answer one of your other questions. I was getting to it about how I wrote the book. It was easy for me because I started in years. I'm writing the book in years of my very first gig, let's say. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like a 70s guy. I started in the 70s, high school band, all that. The book starts right at the beginning of my picking up drumsticks at 7 years old and taking jazz drum lessons that my dad put me in. It starts right in the beginning, man. And the first volume ends in around 1989, where Killer Dwarfs are in the studio with Andy Johns recording Dirty Weapons, which was our biggest selling record. And that's where volume 1 ends. So then I just pick up. I mean, I only broke it into volumes so it's not like the Bible. You shall not pass. I think you guys are getting the Bible from the drummer. It's like it's so thick. You know what I mean? And I just thought it'd be cool to break it into volumes. And I don't know. I have this thing. I write books for people who don't like to read. This is really, or don't have time to read. And what I mean by this, the books are short, as in 160 pages kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can read the book on a flight from New York to LA kind of thing. The font is just a touch larger than the average book, which I call geezer font size. Right? So you might be able to take your glasses off even and read the book for people that wear glasses. I mean, most of my fans are up there in age now, right? And the second thing, pictures are at the end of every chapter. And they're short, action-packed chapters. This is literally how I write my books. And what I love about it is that all the reviews, nobody can put the book down. They bust it out usually in one day. They bust it out, man. And that's exactly what I want. I don't want a long-winded book that took you 6 months to get through. I've read books like that, man. Not that they were bad. They were just so long, and I could only do 40 pages and then, go travel for a while and then come back to the book again. Some people like that, whatever. But, personally, that's how I write my books. I really write them so you're not spending a whole lot of time reading the book. You're getting through it and done with it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
It's just me. That's how I write.
Recently, I saw you have your own band, Automan.ca. And
yes, I do.
You had a new single out, Street Urchin.
Yeah, I know what it is. Street Urchin.
Yeah.
Right? Is that it?
Yes, that's the one.
On YouTube? Yeah, that's the last single I put out. And I put that out during COVID, right? These were all things that went down during COVID. And I wrote my book during COVID, too, which changes so much, I mean, I had the time, obviously. I wasn't touring.
Yeah.
But the Automan video's hilarious because the band couldn't be in the video. Yeah. It's just me.
Yeah.
If you see the video on YouTube, it's just me walking down the street amongst all the street urchins.
Yes.
Right? And the book really, or sorry, not the book, the video, that video really is an opioid homeless awareness video. It's actually a serious thing. It's a serious thing. That's why I put that song out in the book. I mean, because I live downtown Toronto, and most major cities of this size, they have serious issues with drugs and opioid abuse and homelessness and all that stuff. We have it here. And I want to make light of it. So I filmed some video in Vancouver and in Toronto, in the downtown areas where some of the homelessness is the worst, and that's what that whole thing is about. But I ended up filming it with just me because we weren't getting together. You're supposed to stay away from everybody. We were quarantined sort of thing, right? Yeah. For a while up here. We were literally like, don't go out and all this stuff. And we've been way worse up here than the States, right? Like, I mean, like being careful is one thing. I mean, I think I think it was a bit extreme up here, to tell you the truth, in Toronto. I think we were locked down too long. I mean, I don't want to get into that. It's just, I don't want to get into anything political, none of that. But anyway, so I ended up filming this video, and people love it. It's like a hit with my fan base, the Automan fan base. Anyway, I'm actually pretty proud of the video. That was all me. I produced it, and I had to do it out of adversity, and had to be a little clever to pull it off without a band.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you have 2 albums and I think an EP with this new song. Do you have any plans to do another album or maybe an EP, or how's it going to work for you?
Yeah. We were kind of thinking of just putting singles out.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah, because I'm finding that people are just buying one song at a time. I mean, not that there'll never be albums again and all that. I mean, I definitely plan on doing that, but I was thinking of only putting out a couple of new songs right now for this year coming up from Automan. Yeah. One anyway, because I mean, I can release stuff anytime to iTunes and whatever, right, with my label and whatnot. And I'm not planning on doing a full album, no. Killer Dwarfs are, though.
Yeah,
Killer Dwarfs are planning on doing a full album, yeah.
Sweet.
And that's my main band, right?
Sure.
The Dwarfs are the big band. Automan's the little band, as I call it.
Yeah.
And isn't that kind of an oxymoron? The Killer Dwarfs are the big band, and Automan is the little band. Shouldn't it be the other way around? They're dwarfs.
Yeah.
Well, you just returned, about a month ago from the Monsters of Rock cruise? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we had Glenn Sobel on, as you know, a while back.
Yes, Glenn. Wow, what a drummer he is.
Fantastic, yeah. So,
he's one of the best in the world.
I'd like to get everybody's kind of opinion on these changing rock cruises.
Yeah.
There's more and more of them now.
Yes.
You participated in it. The Killer Dwarfs did. What is your opinion on these rock cruises? Do you enjoy them, or are they getting oversaturated? What is your mind space like when it comes to doing something like that?
What did Glenn say?
No, he loved it.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, that's what I say then. No, I'm just kidding. No, I talked to Glenn a little bit on the boat. He's a good guy. Well, you're talking to a lover of it. I absolutely love the cruises. We've been on 7 of them, and they've all been Monsters of Rock. Monsters of Rock are the kings of it. They started the whole thing. Okay, everything came after that. Monsters of Rock's been around 12 years doing it, and then came a whole bunch of them after that. 10,000 tons of metal or something was one. I don't know what it's called. There's so many of them, right? And the Kiss cruise, I get it. And there was a Def Leppard cruise, and I mean, I get it. They're fun and they're insane. And obviously, there's some money to be made. Whatever. Larry Moran runs the Monsters of Rock cruise, and he's a total professional. And he's a rock and roll manager, and he's not just a boat cruise guy. He's been in the music business for decades. And he just jumped on an 80s thing. It was really just an 80s cruise, Monsters of Rock. That's what it was. It's starting to change a little bit now. They're having a bit of some new blood, like Heat from Sweden and some of these new bands, Dirty Licks or something. I can't remember all the names. Just some of the newer bands were on the boat this time.
Nice.
That's not usually. Usually it's just Tesla and Kicks and a lot of the same bands. So that's okay. I'm all good with some new blood coming on the boat. It was great. But I am a big fan of it. It's a welcome thing for my band. We live in Canada where we freeze our balls off pretty much seven months a year. So when someone calls me up and says, "Hey, would you like to go on a boat to the Bahamas and get warm for about a week?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do. Sign me up." So we love the cruise for more than just the reason of getting to play 2 concerts with our fans and hang out with our fans and make damn good money too. We really love the vacation side of the Monsters of Rock for us because we get to get away. We get to bring our wives and kids. It's pretty cool. It's a paid vacation, and there's nothing wrong with being on a boat with like 4,000 real hardcore 80s metal fans and 50 bands like Queensryche and all these great bands. You know, I mean, there's a lot of great bands that are left. Winger, all these bands, they're the top of the line bands that are left touring right now from our era. So that's my answer to you, bro. Thumbs up all the way.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, as we see COVID-19 restrictions loosen, what can we expect as far as on the touring spectrum for the Killer Dwarfs this summer? What do you guys got cooking?
We got a lot cooking, a lot. I've been talking to my manager a lot who books the bands with agents, and we've been talking all week this week, kind of working together a little bit on some of it. And where are you guys? You're in the U.S. Where are you?
We're in Rock Island, Illinois, Quad Cities.
Yeah, we're about right in the smack dab middle of the Mississippi River. Yeah,
okay, beautiful. Yeah, I love Chicago. It's such a great rock market. That whole area. We're working on a lot of American shows. We're playing. There's only so many I can talk about right now because until they're booked or not booked, but until promoters a lot of times announce it, they get kind of pissy. Right. If you're announcing stuff before they've had the big moment to put the stuff out, right? I don't know what it is about that, but don't ever fucking say anything about the festival you're doing before they say it, or you're off the festival. I don't know what the deal is with that. I figured just tell everybody, get them going.
I know,
but whatever. So we're doing one in I think it's in Minnesota with Jackal and all that. Do you know about this one yet?
I have not.
I haven't.
Summer, God, I wish I can't remember the name of all these, but this one's booked and it's in September and it's already out. It's in the Minnesota area. It's 3 days. Jackal and Winger and all these bands are on it, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. It's like called Summerfest or something. It's like similar to the one that's in Milwaukee every year. Okay. Anyway, you can Google it. That one, Festival Minnesota September. It comes up, but I just don't know the name of it. That one's done. We're playing in Saskatoon, which is Saskatchewan, Canada. We're doing a festival, Rock the River, it's called. And that sounds similar to the one in Minnesota, too. It's something river or something. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Rock the River, we're doing that. It's another 3-day festival. That's in August. And apparently we're playing Winnipeg at the same time, a festival there as well. And America, though, we're touring Texas. It's in the works. We're touring the East Coast. I don't know if we're coming to the Midwest, though, right now. But the East Coast is being booked right now. Down to Atlanta, like the Virginias, you know what I mean? Like Myrtle Beach, all that. We're doing a swing down there into Atlanta. That's happening right now. We're supposed to play Vegas and Salt Lake City and the Whiskey, maybe. I think it is. That's supposed to happen this year. So there's a lot going to just get us back in the game. You know what I mean? Because we've been off for 2 years. We've literally played four shows in 2 years. It's very sad for us. And we're not fucking young guys anymore, right? So like to me, like to Russ and I, we're like we just got burnt for 2 years. 2 of our senior touring years, man. Like you can't get them back, all right? Yeah. Like you can't get them back. I mean, give us a break here, man. Like I'm like 60 fucking years old. Like I plan on rocking until I can't. But when you burn us for 2 years of our 50s, we're like pissed. We're pissed off. Like we're super pissed at COVID, more than the average person would be. Because it just took 2 years of very important things we were doing. And it fucked our album. Yeah. It fucked our new album, the whole bit. Writing process, the whole thing, man. It took a tour of Europe away from us that we haven't done in a long time. Like we toured with Maiden over in Europe a lot, and we were going back in 220 it was, and we got stiff for the whole thing. That's now trying to be rebooked next year, but now there's a war. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I just know that we're hoping the American dates all go down and all is well there, because the United States is just hands down like our favorite country to play rock and roll in.
Well,
so that's that.
Thank God for that. But, with there being various options for touring methods for heritage acts like the Killer Dwarfs and, other heritage bands to go along with you guys.
The seniors.
I'm not calling you guys that. We're calling you heritage acts.
I know. I like heritage. That's heritage, all right. We got a lot of heritage.
But, at this portion in your career, do you have a preference? Do you prefer the traditional getting in the bus type of thing, or do you like those weekend fly-out dates? Or, so we see now some bands just wait for the summertime and just hit every festival circuit they possibly can. Where's your mind space and all that?
Well, I'll speak for Russ and I, right, since we're the longest founding members of the band that are in the band. We love the tour bus, man. Like, we live for the tour bus, and you know what? We don't even get one anymore. we're like bummed about that too. We're trying to make a tour bus happen. That's all we're doing all the time, because we're doing. I mean, just logistically and financially, they have us flying everywhere, and it's just way cheaper now. Like the tour bus thing is super expensive. People don't realize how expensive it is, and unless you're on a 40-day tour, which we don't get anymore, the bus is really no good, because you need to be on a long tour to be on the bus, right. Minimum like a month, right? And our dates are usually all scattered around, and they're like 3 days here, we're off for 5, we go back to Toronto, we fly out again for another 3, and so that's all we've been doing for the whole time. We've done very few travel dates, and when we do local stuff up here in Canada or whatever, we just get like a sprinter van and go out to them. That kind of thing. There's no need for a bus, really. I mean, and we get hotels everywhere now, and that's just how it rolls now. It's so different from the 80s. It really is. But we still have that thing with the bus. Russ and I love the bus. We'll get a bus again on one of these tours, just to do it. We're just going to do it just to do it. because we like inviting all the fans on the bus.
Sure.
And piss the road manager off. That's our thing. So there's like 500 people on a tour bus. They're like the whole crowd comes from wherever we are, right? And he's like, you got to stop doing this, man. You can't invite everybody on the bus. But we try to get as many of the fans on the bus as we can to have a beer with us.
Oh,
That's
so
what
cool.
we've always done that. So I mean, they're all backstage people, but still. But we'd love to do that again. It's been a long time since we got a bus.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about drum solos. I'm not a drummer, but I love drum solos.
Right.
Do you have a little bit of a science behind yours, or do you just wing it, or how's it? Do you use the same song, or how's it work for you?
I hate drum solos. No, I do. I don't do them.
Okay.
I don't do drum solos. I can do a drum solo all day long if you want, but I come from the school of rock and roll where I'd rather hear the songs from the band than have the T-shirts drum solo come on where everybody goes get a beer. No disrespect to drummers, man. I'm one of you, but drum solos are a very self-indulgent expression for a drummer to sit there and do a drum solo. Unless you're like Terry Bozzio or Neil Peart or any of these guys that do very creative, awesome drum solos. I mean, I saw Glenn Sobel do a drum solo in Alice Cooper. Great drum solo. He's a great drummer. And there's a time and a place for it, you know. But with a band like the Killer Dwarfs, we have a catalog of 12 albums that we don't even get to near half the hit songs that the fans want in our 75-minute show. And a drum solo would eat up 12 minutes of that. That's 3 hit songs off Dirty Weapons. You're not going to hear listening to me jerk off on a drum kit.
Fair enough.
Just saying, man. I'm being honest here.
Yeah.
I'm being honest here how I see it.
Wow, that's what I wanted to hear.
And my singer is part comedian, so he's very entertaining. He's an entertaining singer. And I mean, we've just never had a drum solo in our show, ever, in 40 years. It's our 40th anniversary right now. This year. 40 years together as a band.
Wow.
So that's my answer. I mean, I love the technicians out there that are fantastic drummers, and I'm not saying drum solos are terrible. I mean, you know, and then there's guys like Tommy Lee that turn their drum solo into a circus show, which is very entertaining. That's so you can't top it. I mean, the guys, Tommy Lee's drum solo is incredible because it's a sideshow. It's an entertainment package to see Tommy Lee do a solo. I think it's fantastic. So there you go, brothers. That's my answer about the drum solo.
All right,
the brutal truth.
Fair enough.
I don't candy coat anything.
Well, then I'm going to give you a tough question here.
Okay.
So, as you look at the studio albums, the body of work of the Killer Dwarfs, you know, what album do you feel wasn't the best interpretation for the band? And then on the flip side, which album do you think was the best interpretation of the band?
Well, I think they all had their place because there was a couple of member changes along the way. You know what I mean? So the very first album was a magical record for us, but then there was 2 member changes after that record and another lineup form, and we thought maybe the band was done after 1 record. So that's all in my book. It's a very political, crazy ride the Killer Dwarfs had. So the first album's magical. It's kind of like Rush's first album, but then when we got to the second and third and fourth albums with the lineup there, that was a departure in the band. We kind of were like a early metal, budgie sounding type band. And then we turned into more of a melodic rock band, like Scorpions or something. Our music changed from one album to the next, for sure. And that was all because just 2 different members and the writing of the guitar player that came in changed the band for that decade. And those records are my faves, which is Stand Tall, Big Deal, and Dirty Weapons. Those 3 are probably 3 of my faves out of the whole catalog. But the Big Deal record is the one that I'm going to point out here. And that record was maybe not received as well as it should have been, or maybe misinterpreted. I don't know. But I swear that's like my favorite record, almost out of them all. Yet it just didn't take off like we expected. I mean, that was our first album, big American record deal with Epic Records. We thought for sure it would be like sell 1 million records, like platinum, and it didn't. It didn't stiff, but it didn't reach what everybody thought it would, like right away, right? Because Stan's Hall had done so well as an independent record in America. It sold 70,000 out of the gate, and it was the biggest selling indie record. It had the most independent spins of videos on MTV ever, and it still holds the record for heavy rotation of the 2 videos that came off that album. So a lot of crazy shit happened to us, you know. But that I'd say Big Deal is the record, that the gray area for whatever reason. And then Dirty Weapons, we changed producers. Simon Hanhart produced Big Deal. He produced Marillion and some other bands, English. And then Andy Johns is English as well, but Andy Johns produced Zeppelin and the Stones. I don't know. But, you know, he came in, and then we had a huge hit record on our hands. And Dirty Weapons, had hit singles on it. Doesn't Matter and Dirty Weapons. Those songs are still played today on radio everywhere, including Sirius Satellite and Hair Nation. They play it. They play those songs. So.
Fantastic. Jeff, do you have
well, you alluded in when we were talking about playing live before. You talked about having a lot of songs to pick from. How do you guys approach that for picking a set list?
Sometimes the fans suggest stuff, and we listen. I had this one fan from Edmonton, Alberta. He was on me about this song called Desperado off the Big Deal album. We were just talking about that. And that song I love. I love that song, Desperado. And we've never played it live, ever. So I talked to the band, and I'm kind of the band leader as far as rehearsals go and stuff. And I worked the tune up, and we played it. And we came to Edmonton and played the casino there and played that song. And that band was there. And he came up to me and he said, I can't believe you played that song.
Oh, nice.
And we did. And so that's in the set on and off now, this song, Desperado. Very cool tune. So there you go. That's one story. And the rest are just, what band doesn't play their hits? You know the songs.
Exactly.
Like, look at Iron Maiden, for example. They have a hell of a time putting their sets together. Sometimes they just play full albums they just wrote. I mean, we're close to Iron Maiden because we toured with them a lot. We're friends with Steve Harris. And, but Maiden's catalog is sick, like compared to ours. Like I don't even know how they put a set together. They got so many songs, right, that fans want. So imagine how they feel trying to pick a set. But you know your hits, right? I mean, every band does. And there's usually 3 or 4 per album that are either they've already been singles, they're already videos, or they're already on radio. So you have to play them. And then I like to take inside tracks. I love the inside tracks on records that people don't expect, and then boom, you're playing the song. I'm like, I know that tune, awesome. Yeah. So it's kind of fun picking a set.
It would be
very cool.
Fun. Yeah. I have one last question. Jeff, do you have any other questions? No. All right, well, last question, then we'll leave you alone for the evening. Deal? You can get to the Maple Leafs game.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So
it's an intermission. Perfect.
I ask this to a lot of our guests. The internet has made accessibility from the fan to the musician to the entertainer much more accessible now. And we see the mystery leaving rock and roll. And, the cool thing about the 70s and the 80s and the 60s, too, with the Beatles and Zeppelin, and we can go on, and Kiss and all these other bands, there was that mystery of bands. And you didn't have the accessibility. And every once in a while you get an article on a Hit Parader magazine or Rolling Stone or something like that. And now the kind of cat's out of the bag now with the internet boom. And we kind of know pretty much everything about everybody now. So as far as you go as an artist and also as a fan of music, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the mystery of rock and roll, or do you prefer that accessibility? How does it work for you?
Well, not everybody embraces it. I did embrace it. I embraced the internet way back in 1999 or 2000 when it first came out. Got my first Hotmail account, and I enjoy the fan interaction, and like I said, I embraced it. I had decades of being in the shadows and bands writing paper letters to us and never knowing us and never meeting us, unless it was backstage, 4 of them at a time or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I had decades of that, So when the internet happened, I saw it as an awesome opportunity to be more social and meet more fans and become more engaged with the fans. So I love it personally. I don't want to speak for my singer, Russ. He loves the fans just as much as I do, but he doesn't dig the internet as much as I do. He's not as approachable on the internet. You know, that's just his decision. That's his decision. You know, he's not engaged on Facebook and stuff. I am. And you know, everybody has their own way of looking at it and how they want to control it. Doesn't mean that Russ doesn't like people or doesn't like fans or whatever. He's just not as accessible as I am because I enjoy it. Dudes, I do this full time. I don't have like a paper route or anything. Like it's just like I've been in the rock and roll business like full time. This is my job. I don't have a job. Rock and roll is my job. So if I don't have enough time in a day to get engaged with fans and whatnot, then that's something wrong. You know, I mean, I always have a feeling like the fans are number one, and without fans, there is no rock and roll. And I have no problem at all giving any of them any time of day that they need, really, as much as I can. I mean, it gets a little crazy, you know, like when you're that access to, let's just use one. I'm on TikTok, I'm on them all, but it just like Messenger alone on Facebook can get a little wacko, right? You know, people can just randomly come and say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And you don't know them, and so I mean, there is a limit to everything, boys. I mean, right?
Yeah, sure.
There's a limit to everything. I mean, I don't like, holy crap. But you know, I pick my spots, and I spend a couple of hours out of my day every day to try to get engaged on all these platforms and talk to people if they have questions. I do that myself. Nice. I don't know what other rockers do or whatever. That's what I do.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
Well, we're out of our allotted time. We want to thank you for your willingness to participate.
Yeah, this has been fun.
It was a fantastic interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before we let you go, is there anything that we left off that you would like to promote or plug?
Yeah, the book. We talked about the book a little bit, but both books, but the newest one, they're available at Amazon worldwide. Mm-hmm. But if you want an autographed copy with free shipping, you can buy it off my pirate shop, which is dunkspirateshop.com. That's DUNKS, dunkspirateshop.com. That's where you can buy my book autographed and shipped personally to you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is how it's going to work out. We have about 4 episodes to release before yours, so we're looking at about 4 weeks. So in 4 weeks, Jeff, the editing wizard over here, will have it all cleaned up, and we'll send it to you immediately. Please share it wherever you can on your socials. That we would appreciate it.
Yeah. I promote everything, man. Like out the ass. I'll be promoting it a lot. No, I
awesome.
do. I got tons of followers and all that. So I will be doing that. You get that to me, and I will link it everywhere I am. And that's good because I'm doing about 1 or 2 interviews a week right now for the next couple of months. So there's a backlog and all that. So that's perfect.
Fantastic.
And everybody, most of them are not live, so everybody's editing and editing. So it should work out good. 4 weeks from now, that's great. That's perfect.
Fantastic.
I don't think I have anything out about a month from now. I'm already doing them all now, and then they'll come out in sequence. So awesome. Let me know, boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
sounded great.
Yeah, awesome.
All right.
We'll be back in contact with you, like I said, about 4 weeks with everything all cleaned up and ready to go.
Thank you, boys.
Thanks, Darrell.
Thank you.
I hope we play your area. I hope we come to your area.
Yeah, me too.
Because we did a swing through there with Kingdom Come about, 4 years ago. We did the arcade there, the arcade theater.
Yeah.
Is that near you guys?
It's like Arcata in St. Charles.
Or Arcata, yeah.
Yep.
Where is that from where you are?
That's about 2 hours east.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm just saying we do play in that area once in a while.
Oh, fantastic.
So if we get down there, you guys be my guests and come out, okay?
We'll definitely do that. Thank you, Darrell.
All right.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
fight the grip of death. You can have the air you need, but you best not take one breath. Hey. Roll the dice. Take your chances. Everybody knows the game is fixed, there is no prize. Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. Hey. Roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.